guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to a little top five, a little bit different one today. We're going to be looking at uh, top five animated horror films. There is quite a few out there, and there's quite a few in the anime sort of fan base. So I'm not going to really touch too much on that. Though I have put one in here. I try to avoid sort of like just putting one type of horror film in sort of thing. This I wanted to try and spread it out. But there's quite a few great anime sort of horror films and anime horror series. Um, Things like Clash or what's it? The Attack on Titan and Three Times Three Eyes and all these wonderful films, Devil May Cry, and all this sort of thing. But I try to have a bit more of a sort of a broader thing because I think there are hidden things in certain animation films that you wouldn't think of being horror, but I look at them as horror. So this is my version of horror. Yes, I was going to put in a few Tim Burton films. I believe I might have one in here, but I've left some out. But anyway, we'll crack on. Number five is the anime title, and it's called Soul Station. This is an animated version of carrying on the story of Train to Busan. So it's a Korean horror film, and it's sort of released, and it's a zombie film, and it's based upon zombies sort of like taking over Seoul Station. If you've ever seen Train to Busan, that's a great film, and the follow-up to that, Train to Peninsula, and that's really cool. And this is along the same vein as the third film in the series. It's a cool little animated film. It's quite gory, and it's a pretty good ride up that same sort of franchise. So number five is Soul Station. Number four is a Disney classic from one of the very early Disney films, and it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, I do class this as a horror film. It's got a witch in it, so as far as I'm concerned, it's a horror film, and she is out to try and kill Snow White because she's jealous of her beauty. Now, Snow White has been sort of like, it's almost like a homeless tale where she's been taken on by these seven dwarves that live within this house, and she helps to look after them. And a handsome prince comes along who sort of falls for her, and it makes this witch or queen and jealous, and she sends out this witch to try and kill her with all these sort of things like poisoned apples and spells and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a kind of an early kind of witchcraft film going on there. But being Disney, of course, it's got a happy ending. So yeah, I had to include the classic. I was thinking of Pinocchio, or Beauty and the Beast, but then I thought, no, let's go for the out and out old classic. This is probably one of the first Disney movies, I think, and it's really cool film. It's a great watch. It's a musical sort of horror, and it's fantastic. So number four is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. See, where are you going with this job? Next up is another Disney film, but this time it's a Disney film by Tim Burton, and it's called Frankenweenie. Obviously based a little bit upon the Frankenstein kind of story. It is shot in black and white for a cartoon. I believe that is it got a coloured version on there. I'm not quite sure. Let's have a little look. But I saw this at the cinema with my lad when he was young. He got a bit tearful at it at the time, because it was, I think because You know, it was a little bit sort of like sad bits in it, and it's probably one of his early sort of like look at horror in a way. But yeah, Frankenweenie, it's a great fun sort of film. It does have some sort of scary sort of moments for very young children. But yeah, it is a really cool, very typical Tim Burton kind of film, and it's absolutely fantastic, really cool. I loved it, fell in love with the film when I saw it at the cinema, and I still love it today. Frankenweenie's number 3. We've got an adult one next. Well, I say adult, it's really kind of for everyone, but it's more of an adult theme, if you like, and it's Raymond Briggs's When the Wind Blows. This is based on an atomic bomb attack in the UK, and this old couple here are in the midst of it, and they're trying to survive the aftermath of this nuclear attack, and you see them kind of withering away over time, and they both get ill and they both get burns and stuff like this, and he's always like, "Oh, chin up, love," you know, that sort of old British sort of like a way of being, sort of like, you know, chin up, don't worry, things will be better in the morning, here's a cup of tea, that sort of thing. That's his kind of attitude. But eventually it takes hold of them both, and it's quite a heartbreaking film, but it's a very sort of potent and shocking and important film, really. And it's a really, really cool film to watch if you've never seen When the Wind Blows. A bit more of an adult theme sort of storyline, based on, like I said, a post-nuclear bomb going off in the UK. Really cool. When the Wind Blows is second. Now, my favourite one is, I saw it in 3D at the cinema with my lad, and I loved it, and it was Coraline. I still love it today. It's such a cool, creepy film. Little bit of an Addams Family kind of vibe going on with it. But yeah, it's a cool supernatural horror film. I was going to put Casper in here, but I don't own a copy of it, so I couldn't. And I love the Casper film. That's really, really cool. And there was another film that came out the same sort of time as this. I think something like Haunted House, I think it's called. It's quite similar, but this one really grabbed me. It was a real sort of cool story, and the animation style was quite different to the others. It was a bit of a standout. But yeah, really, really cool. Great, great film. Really love it. I've got the 3D version of the film, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, my number 1 animated horror film is Coraline. So there you go, just a short one today, just going through a little horror genre. Doesn't really get talked about so much, and there is some cracking little films in there like When the Wind Blows. I mean, you could class things like Watership Down as a horror film. It's a bit of a sort of survival horror where the humans are the monsters in there, you know, and there's loads of other sort of animated horror films out there that I haven't brought to you in this channel. Some of them I don't own. I mean, I really like Casper. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I believe in America it's just had a 4K release. But of course, we don't get that here, which is a shame. And if you look at films like Small Soldiers, which is like an animated film, that's almost a bit like The Purge, where you've got these innocent people in the house being terrorized by these troops outside. So there's quite a few horror, and like I said, there's a vast array of horror movies in the anime kind of genre. But there is things like Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse's Bride, more Tim Burton sort of films. And like I said, you can look at some of the Disney films as being early versions of horror films. Like I said, because there is some sort of elements in there. There's normally a witch. There's normally some evil going on within these sort of films. So, you know, it's and it can be a bit scary for younger viewers. But there we go. It's an underrated kind of genre, subgenre within horror. I think we need some more. I know there was one not so long ago which I don't have. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Shudder film, and that looked really out there. And obviously, I love the film Nine, which is another Tim Burton film, I believe, which is fantastic. Another sort of sort of apocalyptic kind of film. Really, really cool. So there is some great animated horror films out there. So check them out. And also check out some horror channels for me. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Design, Pizzawell, I Am Icelord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrews Horror House, and The Maniac. And a massive shout out to the lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.